anything be done to hold lawmakers accountable for their roles in the insurrection? We're going to tell you about the little-known corner of the Constitution that could do just that. We have a reality check next.
And new numbers this morning that show just how overburdened hospitals are. It's driving increases in vaccinations.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to create a better visitor experience.
Improve our workflow.
Attract new customers. That's when Fast Signs recommended Fleet Graphics.
Yeah, now business is rolling in. Get started at fastsigns.com.
Here's how Gary lost 25 pounds on Noom.
Hi, I'm Gary Paul Wright.
Gary loved Noom for its psychological approach.
It gave me the tools to understand what's on my plate so I can eat what I want and keep the weight off.
Sign up for Noom and lose the weight for good.
Hi, I'm Jimmy J.J. Walker. If you're on Medicare, listen to this. I called the 1-800 number to see what extra Medicare benefits I could get. An actual person answered, looked up my zip code, and boom, I was offered extra benefits like dental coverage, including dentures, extractions, fillings, plus prescriptions, transportation, meals, and so much more, all at no additional cost. And then I asked about the benefit that adds money to my Social Security check. And get this, I'm entitled to an extra $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year added to my Social Security check. And I was like, dynamite! Call the 1-800 number on the screen and see what you may be entitled to. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-418-6230. That's 1-800-418-6230 now.
At Leaf Filter, we're on a never-ending journey to end gutter cleaning forever. Whoa! Way too dangerous, Bill. Way too clogged, Melissa. Leaf Filter, the nation's #1 rated gutter protection system, will keep you safe and protect your home. We guarantee you'll never have to clean those nasty gutters again. Everybody okay with that? I should. Call or go online for your free gutter inspection and estimate. Act now and save 15% off your purchase.
You founded your kayak company because you love the ocean, not spreadsheets. You need to hire. I need Indeed. Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Only pay for what you need. With customized car insurance from Liberty Mutual. Nothing rhymes with Liberty Mutual.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Would you ever relinquish your weapons?
Not a chance.
Never would I think that I would join a cult.
We have to understand where we've been and how far we've come.
And welcome back to Guess the Price. Sal, what do you do?
Oh, I'm a retired postal worker.
Fantastic. Are you ready to play?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, Johnny, tell him about Eargo. These top-of-the-line hearing aids from Eargo are straight out of the future. They're rechargeable and virtually invisible in your ears. Okay, Sal, how much do you think they cost?
Oh, gee, I don't know. $5,000?
Well, actually, for you, they don't cost anything. Holy heck. That's because federal employees, retirees, and their families can get these life-changing hearing aids at no cost. Holy heck. And you don't need to visit a doctor to get them. They ship right to your home and come with lifetime remote support. Convenient, right?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Eargo 5 is here, our latest device that allows you to personalize your hearing experience. Get yours today. And if you're an active or retired federal employee, you may qualify to get Eargo at no cost to you.
I'm Jeremy Diamond at the White House, and this is CNN. So during the Trump presidency, there was some talk of using the 25th Amendment, the one that outlines procedures for declaring a president unfit. But in the wake of the January 6th insurrection, there is a different amendment that some believe could be used to hold Trump and the people who supported him accountable. John Avlon with a reality check.
Our constitutional crisis is already here. That's the title of a powerful op-ed published in the Washington Post by Robert Kagan. In it, he points out that the founders did not foresee the Trump phenomenon.
They anticipated the threat of a demagogue, but not of a national cult of personality, nor did they foresee that members of Congress would refuse to check the power of a president from their own party. That's, of course, what happened over and over again, but especially when Republican leaders decided to oppose impeaching ex-President Trump after the attack on our Capitol, which ultimately could have disqualified him from future office. Instead, they helped the big lie metastasize inside the GOP, fueled ongoing state election subversion efforts, and led directly to Trump being the de facto frontrunner for the 24 nomination. But while the founders didn't foresee this challenge to our democracy, the Civil War generation did, and it's written in the Constitution. The 14th Amendment, Section 3, which reads in part, "No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or hold any office, civil or military, who having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof." That was designed to disqualify any officeholder who took part in the insurrection after Lincoln's election, the Civil War, to stop them from participating in American politics. Congress enacted it with a majority vote, but its intent was forward-looking. The Senator Waitman T. Willey explained at the time, being a permanent provision of the Constitution, it's intended to operate as a preventive of treason hereafter, a measure of self-defense. This measure has been invoked on rare occasions, notably during World War I, but it's a prohibition, not a criminal penalty for insurrection. That's reserved for Title 18 of the U.S. Criminal Code, Section 2383, which states, "Whoever incites, sets on foot, assists, or engages in any way rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States or the laws thereof, or gives aid or comfort thereto, shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States." Now, the language echoes the 14th Amendment and specifically covers anyone who incites an insurrection. There's also a separate criminal statute for seditious conspiracy. Now, prosecution is a matter for the Justice Department to decide, and to date, they have refrained from charging Capitol Hill rioters with sedition or insurrection, choosing to prosecute them instead for things like conspiracy and obstructing congressional proceedings, which is quite the understatement. But the DOJ isn't done, and the January 6th Commission is just getting started. And every week, we seem to get more evidence about the plot to overturn the election from within the Trump White House, from direct and continued attempts by the ex-president to pressure election officials, pressing the DOJ to call the election corrupt. And that's all despite the Trump campaign's knowledge that claims about fraudulent voting machines were bogus. And there's Steve Bannon telling Trump, "We're going to bury Biden on January 6th in advance of the attack," to the chilling 6-point memo on how Vice President Pence could overturn the election, authored by Trump legal advisor John Eastman. As University of Maryland law professor Mark Graber, a scholar of the 14th Amendment, told me, from a constitutional perspective, there's no difference between trying to overturn an election by fraud, force, or violence. All of them fall under insurrection. None of this is to say that putting an ex-president or his lackeys on trial is likely or wise from the standpoint of stabilizing democracy, especially when Biden's AG, Merrick Garland's trying to undo the politicization of the Trump DOJ. But these laws exist for a reason. They are tools that previous generations gave us to hold insurrectionists accountable, particularly those who abused the power of their office and disregarded their oaths to protect and defend the Constitution. By any definition, our country suffered through an attempted insurrection, and there's nothing more serious, especially when it threatens to affect future elections. We need to be at least as determined to defend our democracy as Trump and his lackeys were in trying to destroy it. And that's your reality check.
The avenue exists. The likelihood anyone tries to use it, John?
Look, use the tools that were given to you. Laws exist for a reason. When we don't enforce the laws, then we stop being a nation of laws and become a nation of men, and that's where bad things start to happen, as we've seen.
John Avalon, thank you very much.
We have some brand new audio revealing officers were told Brian Laundrie hit Gabby Petito before they made this traffic stop. We're going to speak with a domestic violence expert on what went wrong here.
A former NBA star speaking out about his near-death COVID experience. Hear what he went through in the ICU. Coming up.
Well-changing question. Is your advisor offering cookie-cutter portfolios disguised as custom?
At
Creative Planning, your wealth manager tailors every element of your plan, partnering with CFPs, CPAs, and estate attorneys to ensure it's optimized for you. No standard portfolios, no set it and forget it plans. So you know your money is working as hard as it can towards your goals. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
When you're a small business owner, there's no such thing as 9 to 5. Days are longer, and business hours, well, they're anything but predictable, especially when you have clients like ours. When I considered payroll providers for my business, I looked for a solution that fit into my busy schedule. Sure Payroll makes running payroll easy, and its U.S.-based customer service is there for me when I have questions, after hours, and even Saturdays.
Visit SurePayroll.com for a 2-month free trial, because small business is our business.
My new normal? Fewer asthma attacks with Nucala, a once-monthly add-on injection for severe eosinophilic asthma. Nucala reduces eosinophils, a key cause of severe asthma.
Nucala is not for sudden breathing problems. Allergic reactions can occur. Get help right away for swelling of face, mouth, tongue, or trouble breathing. Infections that can cause shingles have occurred. Don't stop steroids unless told by your doctor. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. May cause headache, injection site reactions, back pain, and fatigue. Ask your doctor about Nucala.
Find your new normal with Nucala.
There's software, and then there's industrial-grade software, forged from decades of industrial experience and insights. Meet Honeywell Forge, analytical software that connects assets and people to deliver a cybersecure record of your entire operation, so that everyone, in your boardroom and beyond, speaks the same language. Honeywell Forge, industrial-grade software.
I'm doing a math problem. Let's just say algebra or something, and I need help.
Right. With the help. A whole bag of help. Big chunk of help.
Okay. But he does a completely weird algorithm that he did when he was 10 years old.
Yeah, it's called The Road to the Solution.
Okay.
But it's a long road.
Greenly can help with that long road. Just point and shoot your math problem to get step-by-step guidance. It's quick and easy, and best of all, free. Get the Greenly app now.
Hi, it's Harry Enton. That's right, your favorite CNN data guy. I hope you'll join me for my new podcast, Margins of Error. Come with me as we explore the interesting, surprising, and just plain bizarre statistics that make up our world. Margins of Error. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
When you're a small business owner, there's no such thing as 9 to 5, especially when you have clients like mine. Sure Payroll makes running payroll easy, and its U.S.-based customer service is there for me when I have questions.
Visit SurePayroll.com for a 2-month free trial.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful, so we created our Smart Seller system to sell your home for top dollar and save you thousands in commissions.
I was amazed at the fact that my house sold in one day. Ideal agents saved me in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000 in commissions. The process was as easy as it gets. They are the #1 way to sell your house.
Our service is free, available nationwide, and there's zero obligation. Call us today or visit idealagent.com.
The last time I had a big break was 3 years ago when I ended all that and started my relationship with Chime. There are no monthly fees, get paid early. I always have peace of mind that my money is in the right place and in good hands.
Download the Chime app today.
Diana premieres Sunday, October 10th at 9.
Singer R. Kelly could spend the rest of his life in prison after being convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking charges. A federal jury in New York found him guilty on all counts. His sentencing will be in May. CNN's Laura Jarrett, co-anchor of Early Start, joins us now, and I know for so many of his alleged victims, Laura, their reaction is finally.
Yeah, breathing a sigh of relief, really. So many of the survivors feeling like their voices were finally heard, but also wondering what took so long. Jahonda Pace, the first victim to testify at Kelly's trial, reacting to the news on Instagram, saying, "I'm happy to finally close this chapter of my life." Pace, like so many others, was featured in that 2019 documentary on Kelly, which in many ways serves as the catalyst for prosecutors to finally re-examine all of the allegations that had been reported about him him for well over a decade. The R&B singer was acquitted back in 2008 on child pornography charges, so this time prosecutors changed their strategy. They used a racketeering charge, usually meant for going after organized crime, going after the mob. They used it to convince this jury that Kelly had used his fame and this network of enablers to create a sex trafficking ring, essentially a criminal enterprise, perhaps best illustrated by this red octopus, a drawing actually created by one of Kelly's former accountants showing Kelly at the helm. After the guilty verdict came in yesterday, Kelly didn't show any reaction in court, but prosecutors had this to say.
To the victims in this case, your voices were heard and justice was finally served. Today's guilty verdict forever brands R. Kelly as a predator who used his fame and fortune to prey on the young, the vulnerable, and the voiceless for his own sexual gratification.
Now facing 10 years to life in prison, Kelly may indeed appeal this verdict, but his legal troubles are far from over. He faces state and federal charges in Chicago, also more in Minnesota. But for now, this is the first time in the Me Too era where a man has been held accountable for hurting predominantly women of color, John.
Justice, a long time coming, but justice.
Yep.
Thank you so much for that.
Sure.
Some new developments in the manhunt for Brian Laundrie. CNN has obtained dispatch audio recordings that shed light on what the Moab police were told before this August 12th traffic stop. Let's listen.
You do have a phone number for the RP, maybe your still landline, and a location where our victim's at? Phone number is... But the female who got hit, they both, the male and the female, both got into the van and headed north. RP states a male hit a female domestic. He got into a white Ford Transit van, has a black ladder on the back.
Now, this audio has put the Moab Police Department in the hot seat because under Utah law, officers are required to make an arrest or issue a citation when they have probable cause to believe an act of domestic violence has occurred. Let's talk about this now with Liz Solis. She is the spokeswoman for the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition. Liz, thank you so much for being with us. And just if you can explain the law to us, because I know, I think a lot of people's reference point for this might be some legal show where it's an issue of whether the party who may have been hit or abused is going to press charges. That's not what the law says in this case.
Correct. So in the state of Utah, the law reads that the law enforcement agency, responding agencies shall arrest or cite the aggressor. However, there's different factors that they're going to be looking at. They're going to be looking at whether or not there's serious physical injury, if there's dangerous weapons present. Their primary focus should be protecting the victim, reducing harm, and preventing further violence, as well as following the law.
One of the things that seemed confusing in this video compared to the dispatch audio is that if you're talking about who the victim is, they were looking at Brian Laundrie having a mark near his face, maybe a mark on his arm that was kind of hard to discern on the video. There was an issue of is Gabby Petito the aggressor here? What do you say to that?
So I would say that domestic violence situations are difficult. It isn't uncommon in a domestic violence situation for both of the parties to perhaps respond to each other. There's obviously always a primary aggressor, but if somebody's been abused for a really long time, I would say it's not uncommon for them to react to a perpetrator. I also want to point out that if someone is arrested or cited, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go to jail. It could just mean that they receive a citation, much like you would receive a traffic ticket. So I know some people, I think, believe that if Brian Laundrie had gone to jail, that could have saved Gabby's life. However, that's not a guarantee, and it probably wouldn't have been for as long as people would have hoped, given the severity of the situation.
Maybe he just would have been cited. I think that's a really interesting point that you make. Liz, thank you so much. Liz Solis. And if you or someone that you know is experiencing domestic abuse, please reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-SAFE. And just in why the majority of Americans are now resigned to a future with COVID.
Plus, the Capitol hearing, so many have circled on their calendars. General Mark Milley answering questions under oath. He'll be asked about the stunning revelations in these books about his actions in the last days of the Trump presidency.
Aspen Dental, we help you find your happy place, like milkshake mustaches, high fives, and high dives, or 3-on-3s, 2-on-2s, and 1-on-1s. We see how these moments make us smile, so we make it easy to share your smile with safe and convenient care all in one place, with evening and weekend hours. Right now, new patients get a complete exam and x-rays free without insurance. Plus, everyone saves 20% on their treatment plan. Celebrate life's happiest moments. Call 1-800-ASPEN-DENTAL or book online today.
Sunny?
I give families a home, not just a place to stay. I am a Verbo host.
Smart news.
I was only watching news I agreed with.
I was only getting news from social media.
Now I use Smart News.
It has news that matters. I trust Smart News. Download Smart News for free today.
Hi, I'm Jimmy J.J. Walker. If you're on Medicare, listen to this. I called the 1-800 number to see what extra Medicare benefits I could get. An actual person answered, looked up my zip code, and boom, I was offered extra benefits like dental coverage, including dentures, extractions, fillings, plus prescriptions, transportation, meals, and so much more, all at no additional cost. And then I asked about the benefit that adds money to my Social Security check. And get this, I'm entitled to an extra $100 a month. That's $1,200 a year added to my Social Security check. And I was like, dynamite! Call the 1-800 number on the screen and see what you may be entitled to. Call now. It's free.
I called and she looked up my zip code and said I could eliminate copays and get expanded dental work, prescriptions, transportation, and meals, all at no additional cost.
I called and couldn't believe that my zip code has dental care, transportation, meals, and the benefit that adds money to my Social Security check every month.
Look, your zip code may entitle you to save money and get significant extra benefits, including expanded coverage for dental work, all at no additional cost. Plus, you may be able to get money added to your Social Security check every single month. Fact is, you don't get these benefits automatically. You must call. Call and get everything you may be entitled to.
I'm on a fixed income, so I called to get money added to my Social Security check every month.
Call and get what you may be entitled to. Call now. It's free.
Call 1-800-210-3874. That's 1-800-210-3874 now.
It's an important time to save. With Priceline, you can get up to 60% off amazing hotels. And when you get a big deal, you feel like a big deal. Priceline. Every trip is a big deal.
When you really need to sleep, you reach for the really good stuff. New ZQL Ultra helps you sleep better and longer when you need it most. It's non-habit forming and powered by the makers of NyQuil. New ZQL Ultra, when you really, really need to sleep.
Fall is here, and so are new opportunities to enjoy this life we love. That's why we're stocked and making it easy for you to get everything you need, so you can care for the ones that count on you. Prepare for what's around the corner. Get more out of the shorter days and add warmth to the cooler nights. In over 2,000 stores, we're here to help you enjoy the new season, stocked and ready for fall. Plus the services that make shopping for it easier. Tractor Supply, everything for life out here.
There's a new poll that breaks down what has been persuading Americans to get vaccinated against COVID. The Delta variant, overburdened hospitals, and virus deaths are among the concerns shown to have driven a recent surge in new vaccinations. CNN's Elizabeth Cohen is with us now on this. I think this is the question everyone wants to know. What does prompt people to say, yeah, I'm going to get the shot?
Right, exactly. This has been sort of the mystery that everyone has tried to solve in order to change these numbers that I'm about to show you. This is the status quo in the U.S. right now. Approximately 1 in 4 people who are eligible to receive a vaccine haven't even gotten one dose. It's been around for months now, and they haven't even gotten a dose. Clearly, they don't want it. And approximately 1,300 people dying every day from COVID-19. That's the result of that vaccination rate. So at Kaiser Family Foundation, they took a look at people who did get vaccinated since June 1st. In other words, they were kind of late to the party, so to speak. They were late in getting vaccinated, but they did get vaccinated. So what persuaded them? So what they found was that some of the most popular, some of the most common reasons, more than a third of people said it was because they saw the increase in cases because of the Delta variant. They saw hospitals filling up. They knew someone who would become seriously ill or who had died of COVID, or because they wanted to participate in an activity such as traveling that would require them to be vaccinated. When you look at other things like mandated by employee or vaccine by pressure from family and friends to get vaccinated, those were less common. Only 19% listed that as a major reason. So what you can conclude from all this, Brianna, is that really fear is what's driven people over the past few months to get vaccinated. Fear that they would end up in the hospital, fear that they would die. And it certainly makes you think when you look at a lot of the government and other ads, other campaigns to try to get people vaccinated, they emphasize the positive aspects of vaccination, which is good, but maybe they ought to be thinking a little bit more about emphasizing the negative things, the terrible things that can happen if you catch COVID-19. Brianna?
Fear, and I would add FOMO, because they want to travel, they want to do fun things, and they don't want to miss out.
Right.
Elizabeth Cohen, thank you so much.
Fear and FOMO, right. Thanks.
Well, look, one person who did end up in the hospital and bad, NBA All-Star Cedric Ceballos, a dangerous scorer who famously won the 1992 slam dunk contest with a blindfolded dunk. He spent 20 days in the hospital, at least 10 of those in the ICU, fighting for his life with COVID. And Cedric Ceballos joins me now. Cedric, first of all, it's wonderful to see you up and about. How bad was it?
Yeah, first, yeah, it's wonderful to be seen. Yeah, it was very bad. A tough situation for myself. Obviously, I want to thank the doctors and nurses and also my family members for getting me through this. But it was touch and go in a very bad situation. I ended up using a lot of muscle, have to relearn how to walk. I'm still not as stable. And then, retraining the breathing and all that. But it got very dangerous.
You had to relearn to walk. You're still not stable. To hear that, from a former NBA All-Star, it did that much to your body?
Yeah, it's great that I was that athlete because, my doctors was telling me that's what's, kept me going. It really got me through that. I was in such great shape at the age of 52 and being able to sustain, what COVID took away from me with the lungs and also the muscle. So, it was fortunate that I did keep myself in shape and kind of, I think, saved my life.
Well, look, I've been going through your social media. I think a lot of us were following you on social media through this, and it sounded so dire. I mean, you were struggling through it. You have that picture there in the ICU, and one of the things you posted was, if I've done anything to anybody out there in the past, allow me to apologize. That sounds like someone who doesn't think they're going to make it.
Well, yeah, I was getting my affairs in order. I was making sure, trying to really get myself and my family ready for the worst. And that statement there was just for those who, this was my opportunity to, maybe apologize or win those wounds. I just wanted help from each and every one of you guys around the world with prayers and concerns and try to push that energy towards me so I can get through. I think the toughest thing that when people go through this is, one, you can't do it alone. The mental aspect of it really gets you down. You start thinking, like I said, even when I tweeted that out, you start thinking, for the worst, but you have to have a support system. And then also that your health care, you got to have it up enough to where, doctors and nurses will be able to take care of you. I didn't get admitted until my third attempt to try to get in the emergency room. So that's a situation there where sometimes I had to really put on an act to get admitted. Sometimes I told them my symptoms and they was, you just go home. And sometimes that's what happens, unfortunately, when people, they send them home and they end up, not making it because they don't have the support at their house.
When you said you wanted to apologize, I maybe wondered, do you have anything specific in mind when you were apologizing?
No. I mean, we go throughout this world and we make mistakes. Everybody's not perfect, but if there is people that I may know or may not know that may have thought that I had done something or rubbed them the wrong way, and I was just apologizing for that.
So when I see the pictures of you in the ICU, and you weren't shy about sharing pictures. I mean, you're a good-looking man. You look good-looking no matter what. But this is messed up. I mean, you're sitting there, with the oxygen there in the ICU. That looks tough there. To me, I see that and I say, that's a reason to get vaccinated. If that's the message that people get from this, is that a positive development for you?
Well, I'm not an advocate on promoting vaccination or not vaccination. My personal choice, I think it's just personal, is whatever I chose to do. Just something that I really don't think that us celebrities or people of stature should be trying to influence or not influence people to do it, because it's different. It's up to your body. They're not telling you to